Hello, and welcome to the CDO interview series. I'm Amy Horowitz with Informatica. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Adita Karkera, the Chief Data Officer with Deloitte Government and Public Services at Deloitte. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk to you. We have a lot of great topics today, so I'm really ready to jump in. How are you feeling about this?
Amy, thanks for having me. I'm super excited about our conversation and looking forward to digging into some hot data and AI topics.
Great. Well, let's just jump right in if that's okay. So, as a CDO at Deloitte, very prestigious role, how are you steering the company towards the readiness for AI powered future? How are you addressing and handling potential for misuse with data?
Yeah, that's a topic that could take up our whole interview, right? But hey, let's touch on a few key topics. I mean, at this point, I think AI is so mainstream in our life, and if we were to really think about how AI is driving business, there are so many particular perspectives that I would want to point out, right? Like starting off with having that robust data infrastructure is key, right? And then building on a robust and trustworthy data governance structure. And then the third pillar that I'm really, really super passionate about is, building your workforce to be AI ready, which includes like data and AI literacy, right? But the good news is, Amy, that I am not doing this just by myself, right? Deloitte has a council of CDOs where all the businesses come together. So different business CDOs come together and we collectively create our policies for whether it's data infrastructure, whether it's our data standards, the data products we'll be creating, or launching our firm-wide data and literacy program, right? We work on this together. So it's a good federated system because we create policies at the very top, and then I can go out and deploy it in different business units, right? So collectively, we've been able to drive and create a data and AI literacy program across the firm, which I've been super excited about because I think that it is so important to keep up with the changes that are happening in the AI industry today, right? And if you don't have your workforce ready and enabled and have them, what I like to call future proofed, right, to be able to deliver for tomorrow, I don't think we're doing our duty as leaders. So that's why I think we put a really deliberate focus on ensuring that our practitioners have access to data and literacy programs, data and AI literacy programs across the board. And it's not a one size fit all program, right? What we've done is created personas and created different competencies and training programs to enable that literacy across different levels. Because obviously, a developer may not need the same literacy skills as, let's say, a managing director or principal, right? So we've created a 101 foundational program and then kind of build a role-based literacy program on top of that. So that together with some of the other policies and governance standards that we have deployed across the firm, I think are collectively driving us to become AI ready.
Well, that's great. So let's have a look in the future for a second. So we talked about AI, getting your workforce ready. How do you envision the role of the CDO changing in the next 5 years, especially with AI coming into play?
Yeah, and I can answer that from two perspectives, right? Like the role of the CDO for me, as in my role as the Deloitte Government and Public Services CDO, but also maybe might be more interesting to you is the role of the government CDO. And I think in both perspectives, we've seen the CDO role evolve over the last decade or so, right? And if we kind of double click on the last 5 years, we see a very deliberate shift where we are seeing the CDO role expand a little bit more out of just being data focused and just being a back data office leader to becoming really that core central leader that is driving the business strategy and kind of teeing it up with the data initiatives, right? So it's that leader that has really become a C-suite imperative for every company or organization. And I think government is no different. We're seeing that shift happen in government organizations as well. I guess it's what now? This is the 5th-year anniversary for the Evidence Act, which mandated the creation of the chief data officers in the federal space.
Yes.
So from the time the mandate came out to today, how the CDOs are functioning, man, what a massive change, right? So today we're seeing, especially with the executive order coming in from the president, that each organization will now be establishing an AI officer as well. So I'm starting to see, as I'm talking to other chief data officers in the industry, a lot of them are taking on the AI portfolio themselves. So we're seeing the shift from CDOs just being focused on data to some of them kind of, becoming key partners for AI deployment. The other thing that I've noticed is CDOs have become a close partner with their CISO, with their CPO, and
Yeah.
the other, which I like to call the council of like the chiefs, right? They're all coming together to shape the business imperative for the organization. So a lot done and a lot has happened with the CDO role. I feel like in the next 5 years, we'll continue to see a focus from the CDOs to ensure that government organizations are really harnessing the power of AI and CDOs playing a critical role in making that happen.
I am so happy to hear you say that. I personally think CDOs have the toughest job. Y'all are in the middle and driving strategy, and you have to bring harmony to everybody in your organization. So I think it's a really tough job, and I'm really excited to hear what your vision around AI is with the CDO. Let's switch topics for a second. So, first of all, I think I need to say congratulations. I just recently learned that you completed your PhD in computer and information science. How amazing. First of all, how did you pick that path?
Thank you. Thank you for that, Amy. Well, it has been a passion, a personal passion for mine to finish my doctorate and, finish that level of education. What was holding me back was not having a compelling research topic. Like when you're thinking like you just don't just like wake up and be like, hey, I'm going to do my doctorate, right? Well, you could, but for me it was like I want to do my doctorate, but I want to have a really compelling research topic that has not been explored before. And I wanted something which is really going to keep me intrigued and inspired and motivated and not drop it in between because having a full-time job, being a full-time mom, I didn't want to take up something which I would drop in between. So when I was instated as the deputy chief data officer for the state of Arkansas in 2017, I started getting really intrigued with, the role of the CDO, what are the characteristics? What are the job responsibilities? What's the ops model? And at that time, there was some preliminary research on the role of the CDO in the commercial space, but a research with the scientific rigor had not been done for the role of the government CDO. And I think from there, I kind of started leaning into like, hey, I'm ready to do this research, but there's never a perfect timing, right?
Right.
So at some point, I said, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and sign up. And I want to explore how the government CDO role evolved, how it started, how it's being shaped based on market and industry trends, and see what the existing cubic frameworks around assessing CDOs in the commercial space, how do those apply to the government CDO itself? So that's kind of where the inspiration came from, and I'm happy I did it.
So, being a mom myself, I have a 16-year-old daughter. So, talk to me a little bit about what advice you'd give women today if they wanted to pursue a career in STEM or in data science or as a CDO. What advice would you give them, or even professionals?
Amy, I feel like data and AI is a space where women are so underrepresented today, right? Like, I mean, if we look at numbers, yes, we can say that, I know, was it in 1970? I think we were at 8% of STEM professionals were women, and that number grew to 35% in 2021. Yes, we've made progress. I acknowledge. But is that progress enough? It's not. So I feel like anybody who's listening, whether it's, children or data professionals, there is a space and there is a need for women to be involved in the data, AI, and analytics space. And more so than ever before, right? I mean, today it's just not a nice to have
Right.
women in the AI space. It's required and it's needed so that we collectively can create equitable and mitigate bias in solutions we are creating with AI, right? So I feel like if there is any spark of interest in anyone listening to this and you want to do something in data and AI, look around, step up, reach out to me, reach out to other women leaders, and we're happy to talk you through our journeys and help you understand the possibilities with careers in the data and AI space, right? There are so many opportunities there. So I would say if there is any spark, let's talk and let's make that happen.
Fantastic. What an honor the conversation was today. Thank you, Adita, for joining me today. Please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews. Have a great day.
Thanks, Amy.